In the late 19th century, as European powers carved up Africa in a frenzy of colonization known as the Scramble for Africa, one nation stood defiantly independent: Ethiopia. The Battle of Adwa, fought on March 1, 1896, was a monumental clash that preserved Ethiopia's sovereignty and became a beacon of hope for oppressed peoples worldwide. To understand the significance of this victory, we must explore the historical, political, and cultural factors that led to this event. The scramble for Africa began in earnest during the 1880s. European nations sought to dominate the continent, extracting its resources and exploiting its people. By the end of the century, nearly all of Africa was under European control, with only a few exceptions. Ethiopia, an ancient kingdom with a rich history dating back to biblical times, was one of the few nations to remain independent. However, this independence was soon challenged by Italy, a relatively new European power eager to establish its colonial empire. Italy's ambitions in Africa began with the annexation of Eritrea in 1890. From there, the Italians turned their eyes southward to Ethiopia, seeking to expand their control. In 1889, Italy and Ethiopia signed the Treaty of Wuchal. This treaty was meant to define relations between the two nations and included provisions for trade and cooperation. However, a critical discrepancy between the Italian and Amharic versions of the treaty became the source of conflict. Amharic is the official language of Ethiopia. In the Italian version, Article 17 stipulated that Ethiopia would become a protectorate under Italian control, effectively surrendering its sovereignty in foreign affairs. In contrast, the Amharic version made no such concession. When Emperor Menelik II of Ethiopia discovered this deception, he immediately rejected Italy's claims, creating a diplomatic rift. The Italians, however, insisted on enforcing their interpretation, setting the stage for war. Ethiopia, under the leadership of Emperor Menelik II and his wife Empress Taytu Betul, prepared for the inevitable conflict. Menelik II was a shrewd and strategic ruler who had spent years consolidating power and modernizing Ethiopia. He understood that the only way to resist European imperialism was to strengthen the nation's military and infrastructure. Using revenues from customs duties and taxes, Menelik acquired modern weapons from France, Russia, and other European nations. By the time of the conflict with Italy, Ethiopia boasted an army equipped with rifles, artillery, and other modern armaments. The Italians, under the command of General Oreste Baratieri, believed they could easily defeat Ethiopia. Their forces were well trained and equipped with modern weaponry, and they underestimated the resolve and organizational capability of the Ethiopian people. However, they failed to account for several critical factors. First, the Ethiopian army was not a monolithic force but a coalition of regional armies mobilized by Menelik II. These armies were drawn from Ethiopia's diverse ethnic groups, united in their determination to defend their sovereignty. Second, the Italian forces were unfamiliar with the challenging terrain of northern Ethiopia, particularly the mountainous region around Adwa. As tensions escalated, Menelik II issued a call to arms, summoning Ethiopians from across the empire to join the fight. The response was overwhelming. Menelik's ability to mobilize such a large and diverse force demonstrated his political acumen and the unity of purpose among Ethiopians. By early 1896, Menelik had assembled an army estimated to number between 73,000 and 100,000 troops, including cavalry, infantry, and support units. In contrast, the Italian force was significantly smaller, numbering around 14,500 troops. The Ethiopian army was not only large, but also well organized and strategically deployed. Menelik and his commanders took advantage of their superior knowledge of the terrain to outmaneuver the Italians. The Ethiopian forces occupied key positions in the Adwa Mountains, creating a defensive network that would be difficult for the Italians to penetrate. Moreover, Empress Taytu Betul played a crucial role in the preparations, commanding a contingent of troops and ensuring that supplies were distributed effectively. The Italians, meanwhile, faced logistical challenges and internal divisions. General Baratieri was hesitant to engage in a full-scale battle, aware of the risks involved. However, political pressure from Rome and the need to assert Italian dominance forced his hand. On the night of February 29, 1896, Baratieri ordered his troops to advance toward Ethiopian positions, hoping to launch a surprise attack at dawn. This decision would prove disastrous. The Battle of Adwa began in the early hours of March 1, 1896. The Ethiopian forces launched a coordinated assault on the advancing Italian troops, exploiting their numerical superiority and familiarity with the terrain. The fighting was intense and chaotic, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. However, the Ethiopians quickly gained the upper hand. Menelik's strategic deployment of his forces, combined with the Italians' lack of coordination, led to a decisive Ethiopian victory. By the end of the battle, the Italian forces were in full retreat. Approximately 6,000 Italian troops were killed, and another 3,865 were taken prisoner. Ethiopian losses were also significant, with estimates ranging from 3,886 to 7,000 killed. Despite these losses, the victory at Adwa was a resounding success for Ethiopia. It not only preserved the nation's independence but also dealt a significant blow to European imperial ambitions in Africa. The aftermath of the Battle of Adwa was profound. In the Treaty of Addis Ababa, signed later in 1896, Italy formally recognized Ethiopia's independence and renounced its claims to the territory. This victory was celebrated not only in Ethiopia but also across Africa and the African diaspora. It became a symbol of resistance against colonialism and a source of inspiration for anti-colonial movements around the world. The significance of the Battle of Adwa extends far beyond the borders of Ethiopia. It challenged the prevailing narrative of African inferiority, and demonstrated that European powers could be defeated by a united and determined African nation. For many, Ethiopia's victory at Adwa was a beacon of hope, proving that the fight for freedom and sovereignty was not in vain. Emperor Menelik II and Empress Taytu Betul emerged as national heroes, their leadership and vision cementing their legacy in Ethiopian history. Menelik's efforts to modernize Ethiopia continued in the years following the battle, laying the foundation for the nation's future development. Meanwhile, the story of Adwa was passed down through generations, becoming a cornerstone of Ethiopian identity and pride. Today, the Battle of Adwa is commemorated annually in Ethiopia on March 1st. It serves as a reminder of the nation's resilience and the sacrifices made to defend its independence. Monuments and memorials dedicated to the battle can be found throughout the country, honoring the bravery and unity of those who fought. The legacy of Adwa also resonates on a global scale. It is a testament to the power of determination and the ability of oppressed peoples to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The battle's impact can be seen in the writings and speeches of leaders like Marcus Garvey, Webb Du Bois, and Kwame Nkrumah, who drew inspiration from Ethiopia's triumph in their own struggles for justice and liberation. In conclusion, the Battle of Adwa was not just a military victory, it was a triumph of spirit, strategy, and solidarity. It defied the colonial narrative of African subjugation and showcased Ethiopia's unwavering commitment to its independence. The story of Adwa is a powerful reminder of what can be achieved through unity and determination, and its lessons continue to inspire generations around the world.